we'll be moving to the next item on the list, which is the panel session that will be anchored by one of Nigeria's finest, if not one of Nigeria's most informed capital market mind. Is consistently over the year written the rules, we've written them, and over propagated for excellence in the marketplace. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm surprised that no Nigerian university has deemed it yet to give him a doctorate degree. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome broadcaster, analyst, Mr. Bosin Omofaye. A round of applause for him, please. Before I finally hand over to him, we'll be doing this for 30 minutes, I'm told. Please, all the ushers will go around. Please, let's leave with at least a copy of the book. I'm told that the launch price for today, and because of cost of production, is 200,000 naira. Please, let's do our best to support generations yet unborn. Thank you.
Thank you, Deyinka. We really appreciate it. We're done. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here since morning. We appreciate your time on behalf of Pearl Awards, an organization that I was part of from the very beginning. And I'm proud that today I have the privilege and honor of being here. The organization that precedes Pearl Awards was known as was also a company by a very big corporate name. And then this organization put me on television for the first time. But there's always been a capital market journey for me. And now, after having done 30 years of what we've been able to achieve, and I want to say a very big thank you to the visionary, Mr. Tayo Orekoya. Please, let's give him a very round of applause. It all looks like yesterday, but we need to build for the future. Please welcome my panelists. And this is very tough for me to discuss after listening to someone like Dr. Adedekwe. Please put your hands together for Dr. Toyin Soni. Please, Dr. Mrs. Oluwa Toyin Soni, please put your hands together for her, an investment banker, a legal expert, a licensed market professional, and the CEO and founder of Emerging Africa Capital. Please also give a big round of applause also to Dr. Bayo Olugbemi, the CEO of First Registrars Limited, nearly 40 years in the market, also a market professional, a licensed broker-dealer on the floor. Say hi. Make it a stronger one. Hi. Thank you. Another investment banker and a former president and chairman of council of CIBN with a very long resume. Please, let's also say a very big thank you to Mr. Haruna Jallow Waziri. Okay, I guess he stepped out briefly. He used to be on my panel. And then, of course, Mr. Oduwole Temitayo, the Chief Technical Officer of PalmPay Nigeria. He's representing Mr. Chikan Wosu, who is unavoidably absent, the CEO of PalmPay Nigeria. Please take a seat. I'm sure PalmPay is looking to be more than 1,000 years old like the Japanese. Now, your hands together for Haruna Jallow Waziri. Mr. Jallow Waziri, a CEO, Managing Director of CSCS PLC, a former executive director of the Nigerian Exchange, also an investment banker, 30 years plus, also in the market, a former CEO, UBA Stockbrokers and UBA Asset Management, also an investment banker. Now that we have the team complete, so we have the team complete. I think I want to take us to take a cue, and we have just about 30 minutes, and I want us to give a little bit of a time to the executives on the floor to give their experiences, very short as it were, to also speak to corporate longevity. I'm sure we still have a few in the room. The likes of Dr. Mrs. Fadayomi Eniola, the likes of Chief Onwambu as well. Those are some who have spent years in the corporate boardroom in Nigeria. But because I have more of investment bankers, Mr. Temitayo, it looks like you and I are the only one who are not investment bankers here. The rest are those who know how to make money and how to ensure they comb through the books, they look at your offer, they look at what you're coming to do in the market. And very interesting, Dr. Adedipe, if you have a few seconds, what you said about the listings on the NGX. Those companies that were listed, and many of them no longer on the exchange for a number of reasons. So that means that how do we then use the market? How do we use the market to build to last? And I want us to take that as the anchor. How do we use the market? I'm going to ask Pampe, when you are coming to list on the exchange, your neighbor to the left is interested, CSCS PLC. The NGX is also interested in when Pampe will be a PLC and come to list on the market. How do we build to last using the instrumentality of the capital market? And I think that is where I would want us to see how can we increase the number of listings across markets, and how can we begin to let promoters and issuers see longevity when they come to us. What I saw we've seen in recent times is that a number of companies coming to list or coming to raise money, commercial paper, short-term borrowings, are not necessarily listed, but they are PLCs. So how do we ensure that they don't just raise money from the market, but as longevity, the build to last, we can see 50, 100 years down the line. 6 companies, 100 years only for a country like Nigeria is at the bottom of the pyramid. So let me start with Dr. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Sani. And I'm deliberately so because I want you to actually chair this for me as the only female on the board, as it were here. Give me your opening thoughts. How do we use the market to instill corporate sustainability for Nigeria?
Thank you. Thank you, Bosin. And I'm so happy that I actually don't think it's a coincidence that I have you and my brothers that are with me on the panel, because for most of us, we share the same history in terms of our time on the market, on the Nigerian capital market, and contributions to the market. I am excited about what Pearl Awards is doing, because I'm speaking not just as a board member of the Pearl Awards, but also as somebody who has been on the Pearl Awards stage as an awardee. And the year that I was an awardee, thank you. Thank you. So this is poignant for me, because
by the way, respectfully, the first female and the first only female in 30 years, the CEO of the year of the Pearl Awards. I think in November she deserves another award for holding that title for 30 years, 3 decades in Nigeria. I forgot to mention that. Now, don't penalize me. Make that to last.
Thank you. So I'm touched. And let me start by saying that, so I'm going to be speaking both as somebody who has run a public company in Nigeria, and by the grace of God, a listed company that is still doing amazing things, doing incredibly well, and I'm very proud of them. And also as somebody who has also then, of course, long after winning, not when I won, has since joined the board of the Pearl Awards to ensure that there's continuity. So one of the things that I will say already is that history is already being made, because the examples that my dear brother Dr. Adedipe gave in terms of the companies that could not stay or did not stay on the market, we have seen that the companies that have won this award remain listed on the market. So something, I think what was missing then was that there was no Pearl Awards. Since we had Pearl Awards, we're now institutionalizing governance. So now back to, that's the truth. We're setting standards, and Pearl Awards contribute in multiple ways. But I want to go directly now, and I said some of those things because you asked me to set the stage. So let me go back to the question how can the capital markets support the institutionalization of businesses and ensure that Nigerian businesses actually do last? And I'm going to start from the perspective of access to finance. So Dr. Adedipe also identified that one of the causes for collapse or the death of businesses is inability to access continued, sustained funding over the years. So the beauty of the capital market and the work that all of us do, my brother Jalo at the CSES, my brother Dr. Olugbemi at First Registrars, and I at Emerging Africa Capital, which is, of course, a leading investment bank in Nigeria to the glory of God. Now, one of the contributions, the major contributions, is that for a company to last, it needs to have access to a diverse source of capital. Because in the history of the company, it will need different types of capital at different times. It would also need patient capital, and it will need capital that is accessible and is appropriately priced. Now, the capital market offers an array of opportunities. And so if you are a company that is requiring short-term funding, parties around this table and in this room, acting as both advisors, book runners, and investors, will be able to grant you access to commercial paper. If you're looking for longer tenured funding, but you're looking for funding on fixed terms, obviously we can arrange bonds for you. If you're looking for patient long-term equity and you're looking for risk partners and risk participants who are they're not going to demand the money from you if you're not making a profit, but are going to be willing to ride this journey with you, then obviously there is equity available on this capital market. So that's one critical way that the capital market, and of course, when you then list as a listed company, a quoted company, you are then able to access this funding, not just from private investors, but from the public at large. So critical to sustainability and lasting of companies is the ability to access diverse and the right form of capital at the time you need it, and from an increasingly broader range and type of investors.
I love that.
Thank you.
And please give a round of applause. And I love that perspective. Risk capital. Not those who are there for the profit, but those who are ready to take risk with you and bringing that capital to the table. Dr. Olugbemi, First Registrars, I'm sure you've got hundreds of companies under that. As a former president of the CIBN, I'm sure you also served with bank executives over the several decades. So I'm sure the issue of corporate governance, sustainability had come up not only in your boardroom, but on the other companies of which you have also served. Tell me about how the capital market can support sustainable funding and sustainability in terms of longevity or built to last, and what do you think the winning strategies should be, complementing what the keynote speaker gave us?
Thank you very much. Dr. Adedipe has laid the foundation, and it was well laid. And of course, my sister and our Yahoo has also done a great, she has said a lot of things. Just a few days ago, I was somewhere and we were discussing companies, we were discussing entrepreneurs, especially from Ibadan land, who had been there over the years, and from Yoruba part of Nigeria, because it was a Yoruba setting. And we said some of our entrepreneurs that shook this nation over the years I don't want to mention them, but you know the names. But because they did not, and they didn't have that vision of listing their companies on the stock exchange, most of those companies are now dead when they left, when they died. Even before they died, some of them. But look at a Dangote. Look at all these companies. And I give credit to the NGX, then as led by Professor Mrs. Ndidi Okeke in UK. She encouraged Nigerian entrepreneurs to get their company listed on the stock exchange. And of course, there were a lot of waivers just to encourage them. And the Dangotes of this world took advantage of that. And today we could see how great those companies are doing. If Dangote lives today, those companies are built to last. And they will be there for a long time to come. The likes of First Bank, the likes of UBA, it was because they got listed that they are still strong today. And the issue of corporate governance, of course, is very, very, very key. And thank God for Pierre Award, who encouraged the issue of corporate governance, and of course the NGX and the SEC in particular, that put on their feet that companies must be run according to the books, according to the rules. If we see most of the companies that have died over the years, it was because they have very, very weak or absence of corporate governance at all. And for those that are built to last and are doing very well today, go and check the records. Good corporate governance. And they did not just build the company for profitability in the short run, they built the company for a long haul. And that's why they are still around. So my advice, that as many as are here today who have one company or the other, I was discussing with my boss, Mr. Onosanya, before he left, on the issue of his business. And he said, hey, that business is built to last. The company is running auto, with or without him around. And I encourage people like him and others here to get their companies that are doing very well listed on the stock exchange. And you will see what will happen over the years. There's a particular company, I'm not promoting them. They used to be called Niger Delta Exploratory Company. They're now Aradel.
NDDP.
They're now Aradel.
Yes.
See what they're doing. Doing great because corporate governance has always been there and they are listed on the stock exchange. So if you want to really build to last, as your company grows, try and bring it to the NGX or get it listed, even if it's on the second tier, NASD, or the other one, this will be better.
It will be better. Thank you, Dr. Olugbemi. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Actually, Dangote Cement story is such a very classic story. We all remember the market leader before Dangote Cement came to the market, Lafarge Africa, which was WAPCO, and then Dangote Cement eventually came in and took the market by storm, as it were, and today the rest is, I think perhaps that also gave Aliko Dangote the heart, the lion heart to say, look, I can do a refinery, I can do for sugar, I can do for petroleum, I can do for others. I think that's what the can-do spirit of the market. Let me ask Mr. Haruna Jallow Waziri about, I'm sure from CSCS, and of course before that being an executive director at the NGX, I'm sure you also interact with listed companies and those who are looking to issue on the market, as well as being a CEO of at least two market institutions, UBA Stockbrokers and Asset Management. Give me your thoughts quickly on this issue around corporate governance and how not only the NGX, but the entire market can reinforce built to last. What do you think the winning strategies can be based on what you've heard over the last 30 years in the market?
Thank you, Watson. So I'm going to say it from two aspects. One, from deal origination. From deal origination, being in the market, trying to curate companies to actually raise capital. The second aspect would be sitting at the stock exchange, whose responsibility was to attract listings to the exchange. And of course, the third part would be sitting at CSCS and seeing what has happened. I once saw a video of Jeff Bezos, who talked about the fact that in the US, especially in the San Bernardino Valley area, that you could come with a business idea and raise capital within 48 hours. The question is, he says the capital is available, the understanding and sophistication of the market is clear, they understand the risk you're going to take, and guess what? When you're a startup, there's an 80 to 90% chance that you will fail. And most of them do. But all this time, you will still see startups come, raise capital, and the capital is there. The question is why? Let's situate it to Nigeria. The key issue we have sometimes is around when companies come to raise capital, how much disclosure is there about the company? How much structure does the company have? Are there hidden issues around the vertical integration or otherwise? And then more importantly is that, does that company have credibility? What you find is that where companies have credibility and have full disclosure, you find that their valuations are typically higher when they come to markets. But where those things are less, you find that the valuations are lower. And before the investor and the company come together, they have to come to the middle and find a strike price. But what is key to me and my understanding is that, sincerely speaking, what is lacking and is still lacking, and we need to improve on that, is the overall governance around companies in Nigeria. And those goes with regulators ensuring they do their jobs, the financial, the accounts that are being produced, the auditors are also being checked to make sure that they represent what it is. And anybody inspecting those companies under certain regulations should also be mindful where a company fails, they should be held responsible. That's the thing I think that is lacking in our environment. In the US, if you raise capital, you raise capital. If there is litigation, you go to court, you find judgment. Yeah. Here, if you attempt to enforce contract, it can take you 25 years. So people avoid issue where they will have to enforce contract, and which is why you see lethargy around, people trying to bring in capital to companies that they don't know, and that has to be corrected. Thank you.
Interesting. Ijalo Waziri, thank you so much of the CSCS. Thank you for those thoughts. Dr. Catherine Nwosu, who is the CEO of African Prudential, is in the US. She's joining us online. Madam, if you're there, if you can hear me, is that a good morning? Yes, it's a good morning. Dr. Catherine? I thought we had a connection. Please, we're going to take her as soon as she joins us on this discussion. We've not gone to Q&A, but please permit me to have a few thoughts from the floor. And I want to recognize a few individuals who have, okay, Dr. Catherine Nwosu, this is Bosin Omofaye calling. Can you hear me, doctor? I guess there's a little bit of...
Hello?
Okay, hello, you can hear me, madam? Could the tech team kindly power our audio to the main address system so that the rest of us in the audience can hear her very clearly? Thank you. Alternatively, I'm going to do like Aaron. Just power her to me, and I will translate to the audience what she said. Either way, I can be her mouthpiece. Okay, I guess that connection just went off. Please, do we have a microphone for the floor? My team, do we have a microphone for the floor, please, very quickly? Where is my team? Do I have one microphone that can rove on the floor? Okay, then please come and take mine. No, hold on. My panelists should have their microphones. Come and take this. And could you please pass this to Chief Dr. Onwabunwa to give us his thoughts on Built to Last. It's one of the big examples in Nigeria when you talk about corporate boardroom. And in terms of Built to Last, I'm sure he's seen many companies come and gone, and he can share just about a minute or two of his experience with us. You have the floor, sir. Chief Sam.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that the impact of the discipline that comes from being part of the stock market is a major factor that does support sustainability and the ability to last. coming from my own experience, the headwinds that we faced after our divestment in 1997, the management buyout from Pfizer to become NIMET, we faced very strong headwinds, and that could have killed any company that didn't have the linkage to the stock market. So if anybody wants to know not only the ability to access funding, but also the ability to attract the kind of investors that are willing to have the patience that was defined by Fumi when she talked about those with the philosophy or the orientation of patient capital. As a private company, you could have easy access to bank facilities, 90-day money, 30-day money, and all sorts. But you wouldn't have that, because who are you? Who is going to stand up for you? But if you belong to the stock market, by the time you go through the review of the SEC and the attestation by your issuing houses and the brokers, you become a personality that an investor, without knowing much of you, can take a risk on. And that has been helpful, because we have had to go to the market several times, adopted different methods of assessing funding. And the fact that NIMET has been a member of the Nigerian Stock Exchange has helped sustainability. Corporate governance, SEC demands it. Everybody else demands corporate governance now. And so whether you like it or not, you are impelled and compelled. If you were a private company not quoted on the stock exchange, you won't go through the same rigor, and certainly maybe it won't be the story that we are today. So I want to applaud the corporate market and also all the agencies that have helped to sustain it today and for where it's gone from one stage to the other. And that's my attraction to the PL Award group, because it's been a motivator, not only for sustaining corporate governance, but also the competitiveness that it creates amongst the different industry groups. It's been also been helpful in sustaining performance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands for Dr. Samuel Nwabua. Please bring the microphone straight to the front row to Dr. Mrs. Eniola Fadayomi. She's someone who has been in the corporate boardroom, also in government, public service for many years and decades. I'm sure, Madam, can you share about a minute with us on corporate sustainability, surviving the environment, built to last, what you think some of the winning strategies should be?
Okay. Thank you very much. To our distinguished guests here, I just want to emphasize that what we are doing here today is very, very important for sustainability. We've been talking a lot about, say, 30 years now since Pearl Awards, and before then also a lot had been happening in the continent and also globally. Before, even in Europe, that we all look up to today, the concept of corporate governance really was very minimal. It took very active steps, and I'm going from it from a different point of view, just to say something different. It took the active steps of the corporate and public world in those countries abroad, in Europe particularly, to enforce the concept of corporate governance. And from then on, they started to thrive. I'm referring to them taking up their leaders and ensuring that these foreign companies that brought in bribery and corruption, it was imported from Europe into the African continent. They come in with very big contracts. They're given very big contracts. And for all of us here, not us, I'm representing those who have been placed in charge. They make it so attractive, they don't have any choice. Now, from abroad, it was said, no European company, I'm not naming countries, no European company is allowed to come to any developing country and offer any form of special incentive to get any kind of special deal. And the penalty for that was imprisonment. Now, in Nigeria, we are now reaching that same level. Some years ago, there was no such thing even called corporate governance. But here we are now talking about corporate governance, and to a great extent, I think we are imbibing that concept. We have top executives that have been here today that have committed their very, very special time, valuable time, and even their funds of their company to ensure that the concept and principles of corporate governance continue and are sustained. So I just want to emphasize that we have gone a long way with organizations like Pearl Awards and many other organizations that have invested their time, money, funds, the Nigerian Exchange, the Securities Exchange, all of them have invested time and money. And I think we are moving in the right direction in Nigeria. And I think that we should not condemn ourselves too much. We are moving in the right direction, and we've gone a long way. And I just want to use this opportunity to commend Pearl Awards and all the organizations, the regulatory bodies, and the very important people who are here, all the participators of today's summit, in supporting this concept. And we know that we are going to go far. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Eniola Farayomi. Thank you very much. Please give a very round of applause. Thank you, madam. I'll take just, if you permit me, my panelists, I'll take just one or two more comments from the floor, if you allow me within the time possible. We have companies in Nigeria that are also looking at corporate governance. And my very good friend here in white shirt, perhaps he thinks I can recognize him in the audience. Yeah, that's the gentleman who is smiling, Chris. Please, can you give him the microphone? He comes from the Hess Holdings family, and I think one of the emerging enterprise group in Nigeria that is doing so. Give me your thoughts when it comes to corporate governance for like Hess Holdings with various interests across insurance, oil and gas, hospitality, leisure, banking, investment banking, and what have you. What are the key issues being discussed at the boardroom that you want to share with us for just about a minute only? Thank you so much. 60 seconds will be good if you can put that succinctly for us. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for putting me under the spot.
Yes, please.
So for us at the Hess Holdings Group, and of course, you know, Hess Holdings have multiple groups within it. Corporate governance is a core pillar. And, you know, the way we do it is that we break it down. So, you know, in some organizations, corporate governance is for the board of directors, right, to discuss. But in the Hess Holdings Group, we break it down. We'll break it down to the, you know, the last member of the team, the employee. We communicate corporate governance so that everybody understands, even the security man at the gate has a role to play to make sure that we have sound corporate governance practices. So, you know, we take it down to the point, to the individual, where you then say corporate governance for who? Because corporate governance is demanding leadership, accountability. And so leadership for who? Even when you are not a supervisor, right? It then means that you even have to lead yourself So that's how we break it down. You must be able to lead yourself even when you don't have people reporting to you directly in terms of the org structure. And so that's where it starts. And then you begin to account, because accountability must go for sound corporate governance to be seen, to be practiced. And then we have also connected, a lot of research have been done within our group, and there is connection to show that every company that has lasted, there is a link to sound corporate governance practice by whatsoever name is called. And the reason I say this is that if you go back to the 50s, the 60s, 70s, even 80s, and even 90s, corporate governance was not as fashionable as it is today. But what does it really mean? It's just good corporate behavior, good behavior, sound principles, and making sure that you take steps to make sure that there is sustainability at the end of it all. So we connect all the dots, and the way we summarize it in Hess Holdings is in our core values. And what are the core values? That we call them the 3 E's: enterprise, execution, excellence. And in excellence, all of them is rounded up. And you cannot be excellent if you don't practice sound corporate governance principles. And that is how it works for us. And of course, like I said, with accountability, then you find out that all the principles we've learned today are upheld, and they eventually reflect in sustainable performance. We are not just interested in performance in Hess Holdings Group, but sustainable performance, so that you cannot just repeat what you've done today, but you will improve on it sustainably, and eventually we'll get to the point where we also hand over to the next generation, expecting that they in turn will also hand over. By the way, when I saw Built to Last, I smiled, because we also remind ourselves in Hess Holdings Group that we are actually building to last. And when you are building to last, then you're focused on the future and not just for the rewards of today.
Chris. Please give me a round of applause. Thank you so much. I deliberately put you on the spot because, and without doing PR for Hess Insurance, it's one company that, if you look at their corporate advertorial, they have an office that you can be looking at a 10-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old. And I look at their corporate video, and I can finally find anyone above 30 or 40. They're just all young. And I said, how do you run an insurance company with just youths only? Roughly 99%. And it was so amazing, because everyone in Nigeria would think that an insurance company should be run by those who are my seniors and my age, because they are the ones who understand insurance. But they just came in and just recruit young people with earphones and whatever. And I said, how do you do it? And that's why I pointed you out. Thank you so much. Finally, let's give a minute of the floor to the investors and the shareholders, because they are the ones who bring the money in. And without them, I'm not sure the rest of us here will be here. Perhaps with my exception, because the 3 of you, Jallo and Madam Toyi, are those who have. So let me call my friend who is looking at me. You have the floor. Yes. Please give him the microphone for 1 minute. Please, you have the floor. It's one of the shareholders. And where's that microphone? Oh. Please, quickly, 1 minute, sir. And I'm looking at the role of the shareholders and investors in this.
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Kabiru Abdullahi Tambari, one of the Shareholders Association from Sokoto State. What I want to say about this Pearl Award, it gives us the courage and elbows so that we can invest more in the capital markets, since I'm on it for the past 25 years now. And I have seen some people that I know for a decade, like Mrs. Sani, who is the former MD of United Capital PLC, and I'm a shareholder there. I know the kind of contribution she makes, so that's why anytime we met at the AGM, I always call her, what man can do, woman can do more. And also, my friend Jalo Waziri, I see the kind of contribution he is doing for us in CSCS. We just held our AGM last month here at Oriental, and on that day we receive our dividend. What I just want to call on CSCS, although it's not an AGM, I want CSCS to be listed at the main on Nigerian Exchange Group PLC. That's my appeal. And once again, I really appreciate this gathering, and by God willing, we are going to tell our people so that they can come into the Nigerian market. Any investor that invested his money, what we need is dividend and capital appreciation. Thank you very much.
Already listed on the NESD OTC. So now Alhaji Kabiru says he used to be listed on the exchange as well, so that he can look at the price of both listings and then make more money. It's a very nice advice. It's a home delivery. How do you respond? But very important, we have a dynamic environment right now. I'm beginning to summarize with my panel. We're going through two major reforms of the current administration. And when we look at what Dr. Adedipe said about the S&P 500, that the rate at which companies are surviving is beginning to decline. And that is very worrying to me. If that could happen around the S&P 500 in America, then when you look at the Nigerian environment, who is built to last under the current environment. But I also love what Dr. Adedipe said, is that perhaps a contrarian principle of Warren Buffett and others will help to swim against the tide. Prepare that things will likely go wrong, and things do go wrong. Jalo Wasire, let's start with you, sir. And that will be the final round of this.
Alhaji Tambol, we've discussed this at the last AGM. We do understand.
Alhaji Kabiru.
Tamba, sorry. What I was trying to explain is that we've seen that, and thank God Mr. Olugbemi was also a director at the CSCS, and that discussion has been on for a very long time in terms of whether or not, as a market infrastructure, we should list. But let me correct some analogy. We are not listed at NASD, we are traded.
Sorry.
So we're traded at NASD because shareholders go there as OTC and put a price and put an environment. With the listing at the exchange, there's a regulatory requirement of disclosures that you must do, which has a higher disclosure level. And that's why you see companies graduate from OTC markets to the main market. More securities markets that require approvals for listings. So that journey is ongoing, the discussion is ongoing, and I'm sure the board will take the right decision around that. So that's for that. In terms of the issue around price discovery and proper return, typically when you go to markets that are well regulated and there are more shareholders that are likely to participate. So you see liquidity at NSE is lower than what it is at the main exchange. And that's what shareholders are looking for in terms of price discovery. I'm sure we'll go to that journey one day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jalo Waziri, for when the journey for listing. Let me be the first to know. Dr. Tuyisoni.
So what I would like to add is that for a company to be resilient, it needs critical things. Yes. The first one is technology adoption. The most disruptive force in today's world is the force of technological change. And it's happening everywhere, and it cuts across all industries. So if you are building to last, you need to change your mindset, irrespective of what you are selling. It doesn't matter if you are selling, if it's a dredging business. You need to shift your mindset to, look, this is a world of technological innovation. How is technology going to impact our business? How are we preparing ourselves? So right now we're talking about artificial intelligence. It's not a wish to have. It's a need to adapt. At Emerging Africa Capital, we have embraced artificial intelligence. We have an ongoing technology adoption process, and you can't stop it. Second thing I will talk about is succession building, and I will stop there. Companies that last. My head of HR posted something on LinkedIn yesterday. He said, the reality is that human beings have a right to vote with their feet. They're not bad when they leave. They're just taking a decision that is best for them. And again, our keynote speaker said even the US last year was dealing with JAPA. So he posted something. He said, not only should you have a backup for every key position, you must now have a backup for every backup. So if you want to build to last, you have your backups, and you have your backups for their backups, rather than agonizing over where people are going and why they're going. Let me stop there.
And that
technology and people.
That's what we call resilience.
If you get it right with technology and people, you are more likely to succeed. And of course, governance that has been talked about. Thank you.
I think that's one main pillar of what we call resilience. You back up the backup to the backup. Now let me back that up with Dr.
Thank you very much. I will say 2 or 3 things. Number one is that in the academia, they say it's either you publish or you perish. So in the industry, capital market or any industry at all, you either innovate or you die. So innovation is very key to building to last. The way you did it yesterday, or you did it yesterday, is not the way you should do it today and tomorrow. You must change every time. If you don't innovate, you get out of this system. Whether you're in the banking industry, even whether you're even in the technology space, technology changes every day. Every day. I mean, 2020 was a watershed in the history of the world. And some of us in the banking industry in particular, we had adopted some of these Zoom and the rest on a very small scale, thank God, that when COVID came, we were able to continue to operate. So you should think ahead of competition. You should think ahead of what happens tomorrow. In CIBN, there was a time that we were talking about banking without walls. And it's happening today. So we must continue to embrace technology. And talking about backing up. Just before we came on I was telling my former boss that in first registrars, that whether I'm there or not, the place is running. In fact, in the past 4 years, I would say I've just been enjoying myself. Really? Because we've trained sufficient people to do the job. They're doing the job, I sign off, I take the accolades, but they do the work.
And you take the package as well?
And I take the package because we have trained them sufficiently. We lost so many people to Canada, you lose people to competition, Canada, and compensation these days.
And really?
Yes,
the triple C.
The 3 C's. Compensation, Canada. And competition. Canada represents the whole world. And competition. So, but at the point in time when I lost a big client for whatever reasons, I was like, how do I unbundle this people? I didn't have the mind. I can't sack. But somehow CCC took many of them away. But I didn't replace them because we had people in the pipeline that could fit in sufficiently, and we were running. So we must think ahead. You must prepare people that will take over from you, because anything can happen to you. If you are not sacked, you retire, you can even die. So always think, not only in the big company, even at home, in your house. you must prepare your succession, because you are not successful until you have a successor who succeeds after you. So we must think ahead 100 years, just like Dr. Adedipe said. Think ahead 100 years, 20 years, 30 years. What happens to your businesses if you are not there? And you must prepare.
Thank you, Dr. Olugbemi. A round of applause for you. Let me allow Jallow Waziri to round off just about a minute or so, because I remember the way CSCS was when it was set up back in 1997 or so was not what it is today. So when you talk about innovation and moving forward with the rest of the market, now the SEC was talking about T+2 transaction cycle for the Nigerian market and how we can build to last on technology that will be innovation that will be central to companies that are plugging into the market infrastructure so that they can also have longevity. Can you wrap that up for us in just about 1 minute, and then we're done?
So what we decided, and I think Mr. Olugbemi was there when I joined as CEO, one of the things that I thought was very important was what I call e-capital. If you look at Tesla, for example, Tesla is a car, but it's actually a software. Yes. So Tesla is actually a software. It's not a car. So they decided, look, we're going to build a software and put it in a car, or put a car inside it. So you could upgrade anything, you could do things. And quickly people realized that after many years of Ford and the
Chrysler,
Toyotas and everything, how come this company is there and it's 10 times their value or whatever it is? It's because it's e-capital. We realized that the way to build businesses is to focus on e-capital. And once you drive that and it's embedded in the DNA of the company, then the services and products that you are looking for would have that resilience and, cyclical sustainability that would happen. So those are the things that we did at the CSCS. But in terms of my perspective, I think 3 things are always very important. That vision and supports the leader, and it's also important that, that North Star is not taken away. And of course, I keep saying it's about people, people, people. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause for my panelists. Please say a very big thank you. A round of applause for Dr. Bayo Olugbemi of First Registrars, Dr. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Sani of Imagine Africa Capital, and the Managing Director, CEO of CSPLC. Please let's step forward for group photograph, and then please let me ask the chairman of the president. Please step forward, Dr. Adedipe, our keynote speaker, because this is your paper that we were discussing, to join in the group photograph. Thank you. And then my colleague will take over from here.
Once again, let's give them a round of applause. Please clap your hands for them. And I bet you enjoyed it. It's been an interesting session. Thank you so much, sirs. Thank you. Thank you, Bosin. Thank you, sir. All right, right now, I would like to invite Chief Mrs. Eniola Fadayomi for the closing remarks. Thank you, Ma. Please give her a round of applause as she steps forward. Thank you.
Well, I think lunch is beckoning, so let me stand on the existing protocols and move straight to where we are. You will all agree with me that today has been a wonderful day and event for all of us that have been here. We've seen overwhelming support in all the words for what Pearl Awards have been doing, and the very relevance and topical theme of Built to Last and corporate sustainability. We have learned a lot and so much today from our keynote speaker, our knowledgeable, and I don't know whether I should use the word famous, but there's nowhere in Nigeria that Mr. Biodun Adedipe would talk that we would not be expecting so much, and we will be handsomely rewarded. And the expert panelists we have here, who have also talked about winning strategies and the importance of what it means to build to last, and the need for corporate governance and sustainability. So, as we conclude this very enlightening corporate summit and the book launch of great men and women who have distinguished themselves in the financial, corporate, and capital markets industry, and on behalf of the chairman and president and CEO of Pearl Awards, I'd like to extend my sincerest gratitude to each of you here present. You stayed so long with us today, for joining us to celebrate and acknowledge 30 years of Pearl Awards and the achievements and significant milestones in the journey of not only Pearl Awards, but all the unique people who have been recognized in this book. And for all of you here too, the purpose has been to highlight to everyone, and to the people here in particular, all the stakeholders, of the winning strategy, to highlight the winning strategies to enable us to stay on the road to sustainability and success in Nigeria as in any other part of the world. Your presence, input, and contributions here today underscores the importance of resilience, sustainability, continuous learning, innovation, knowledge sharing, and collaboration in our industry, corporates, and in the corporate world. So, reflecting on 30 years of Pearl Awards, this launch and special event has been the outcome of the vision and dreams of the founders of Pearl Awards. And the emphasis, especially that of the CEO and the chairman. But what is being highlighted here is that any enterprise starts off from the vision and dream, and then it goes on to being a roaring success. And then after becoming a roaring success, what happens next? The most difficult part is holding on to that success. And what has been highlighted here are the winning strategies in terms of our minds, in terms of our actions, our thoughts, our minds, our actions that drive us to be able to hold on to the successes we've made during our lifetime and for the generations that will come after us. So I'm sure everybody was engrossed in all the tips that we were given today by these experienced expertise. You could not have a better group of people here. I'm telling you. And they were all here in person and represented by high level stakeholders. So you will see that this book, indeed, the book here, as the theme says, a roadmap for Nigeria. We have learned what it means to build to last and the winning strategies, a valuable contribution to the corporate world and capital markets. I'm hoping that after today, this book continues to extend this knowledge and inspiration and motivation to all of us here, those to come. I know I've even spoken to a few here. They're already motivated and inspired. Our collective efforts today will continue to inspire strategies, long-term value creation, and shape the future of our economy, driving growth, stability, and prosperity. To our guests and all those who are present, I do encourage you to engage with the publishers, with all the people from Pearl Awards. Not only that, to all our special guests here, our stakeholders, and to all other participants and those present here today, because being visible, communication is a very important part, we all know, in sustaining whatever we are holding. Let me just quickly end. As I said, it's no long speeches. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I'm staying here that let us harness the insights and ideas that have been presented today and to act as a catalyst to produce and shape a brighter future and growth in productivity, in profitability, and spread it throughout the Nigerian economy. Nigeria built to last and prosper. Those are my last words. Nigeria built to last and prosper. Thanks for listening, and God bless Nigeria.
Nigeria built to last and prosper. Thank you so much. Please give a round of applause to Chief Mrs. Eniola Fadayomi for that closing remarks. Thank you so much. And yes, we're through, right? Please give yourselves a round of applause. Everyone, those that started with us, those that ended with us, those still here, thank you so much, everyone. But just before we go, we must thank you. And to give the vote of thanks, I would invite Pearl Awards CWC Chairman, Mr. Sam Emeholu. Hello.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say thank you so much for the time you spent around. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for all your patience and every person that's contributed to making today a great day. Thanks so much, Mr. Awoyemi, for your beautiful class. It was a class we live to remember. I also want to use this medium to express great thanks to my team, the whole member of the CWC that made this happen. Thanks so much. I may not be able to mention all your names, but it's been a wonderful time with you. But more importantly, as we depart, I want us to carry this momentum forward in all that we've learned today at Build to Last. And let's translate these dialogues to action. I want to ask that everything that's been discussed here is meant for us to be able to translate our environment into an actionable movement, an actionable environment. Thank you so much. I believe together we are an architect of a legacy by being part of this event. Nigeria's future is built to last. Thank you so much, and may our shared vision flourish. Good afternoon, everybody.